It's August the 3rd, 2019, and I just realized I haven't done a commentary video since my dumpster fire performance at the Mid-Atlantic qualifier. Well, I just have not been in a very good place. I normally don't talk about these issues publicly, but I have, everyone has demons. Everyone has demons, and I am no different. Early in life, I was diagnosed with social anxiety disorder, and I have a little bit of a mild depressive tendency. And so I had some life events that occurred during the spring that really set me back emotionally. I learned that my wife was going to be outsourced from a position that with a company that she has been employed at for 29 years. And for people who are my age, 50 plus, when they hear something like that, it's very difficult to deal with emotionally because of lateral employment and pensions and retirement and everything else of that nature. And so over the course of the time that it took for me to help my wife through that process, I was also dealing with my own issues and all the volunteer work I do for the Webster County Wood Chopping Festival and the aftermath that occurred on social media, in addition to just general life stress. My body broke down, and I had got a really horrible respiratory infection, which is exacerbated by the fact that I'm asthmatic, and my body just had a horrible inflammatory response, and my back began hurting, my ankle began hurting, and I'm 50 years old, but I'm relatively pain-free, to be very frank. I'm very lucky in that regard, but the stress and the other issues coupled with everything created a perfect storm of just absolute misery for me going into it. And I did my best to try and shield or not let anyone know about it, but it really came out in the aftermath of the Timbersports series in Morgantown. And I've said some things at that event that I'm done, and that has more to do with the stress associated with dealing with the series and how I don't really find it that fun anymore. There's been a lot of changes that are counterintuitive and probably a little bit not good for the athletes or the sport in general. And for me, I've committed my life to try and promote the sport and make it better for everyone. And that selflessness that I have been given to the sport and the aftermath of how people responded to my poor performance, at least some people whom I will never consider friends ever again or even speak to because they're just not worth my time, breath, or energy. That being said, I was in a very dark place for about 10 days. I wasn't going to harm myself. I was never at that length, but there was very, very, very depressed, obviously. And I didn't come out of it until I learned that my wife had obtained a lateral position with her company, which enables her to keep the pension, retirement, et cetera, et cetera. So just lifted a 1,000-pound weight off my shoulders, and I can't express how much that makes me feel good. Now, also since that time, I've gone to several competitions. The smaller events are the events that my wife goes to, and she genuinely enjoys. She doesn't like the big events like the Timbersports series or Hayward or Boonville or nothing like that. She likes the little shows, which are the ones that I normally end up emceeing and commentating and helping people unloading equipment. And it's the reason why I, do what I do for people and events, and just show my passion. And the smaller events have led me to fall back in love with the sport. And does that mean I'm going to compete in Timbersports again? I don't know. I have to really think about that one. I just learned that it's going to be at the end of August, and that and I wanted to go to Brisbane, which is the beginning of August, and I don't think I would be able to take off that much time of work during August and make all that happen. So I just have to decide, and I have to really make a decision on where I want to and what I want to do. But I'm going to show the videos of the performances of those events and from Morgantown, videos that I have. And I disqualified in the stock saw and hot saw, which are traditionally my two weakest events. But the reason why I disqualified in the hot saw is because there's something wrong with my motor. There's something lining up somewhere. I've ran it 10 times this year and I've thrown 4 chains. And that's not the way hot saw should run. But thank heavens for Rob Spry and some other folks that are, we'll talk about later. But I may come back. I don't have any delusions of grandeur. I don't believe that I still have a skill set that makes me relevant, and I still have a skill set that can probably land me in the top 3 to 5. However, the new point scoring system has shown that predictability is no longer the forte, and if you can put up a good hot saw run, you can be the Timbersports champion. So anything is possible in this day and age, but I'm going to have to be tight, right, and concise. And if I decide to do the Timbersports again, I'm going to have to really drop my springboard time, as well as improve my general performance in the hot saw. And I think I might be able to make that happen. Signing off. I hope to talk again.
All right, gentlemen, athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Come on, Jamie.
Bradshaw's talking, looking real good.
There you go, baby. Get on it.
That's a good
Get back on it. Good pocket.
Junior on the right side here. And he's looking right into that top pocket, so I want to make sure it's a good one. He's incredibly strong once he gets up there.
Come on, baby. Get that good pocket. Good, Jamie. Get back on it. Perfect.
That looks like a good ball.
Go for it. Go for it.
He's going to get
in and out.
And here comes Arden
Get your
Jr.
pace.
Looking right into it.
In and out, Jamie.
Arden Jr.
Perfect.
You got this.
In and out. Come on, Jamie.
The power is generated from the spring off.
Get on it.
But Arden Jr. on your right, he's so strong.
Come on, Jamie. Good hits. Hard hits.
Chopper on the back end right now.
Perfect.
We are closing
Reach.
in on the 1 minute mark.
Come on, baby. Get up there. You got it.
Arden Jr.
Come on.
Taking that long apart.
Hard hits. Forward. One more.
That's a good punt. I know he wants to have that top forward back. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Arden Jr. on
Come on, Jamie. Come on.
He hits the log in about a 0.8 seconds.
Get on it.
Matt Coder is going to be driving right now.
Get on it, Jamie. Come on.
In the United States, he stepped off, giving Arden Coder Jr. a chance to